Imagine waking up in the wealthiest city in the Mediterranean. Your warehouses overflow with gold. Your walls are impenetrable. Your navy controls the seas. You're untouchable. Now imagine watching those ships just stop coming. This is the story of how Alexander the Great conquered the unconquerable, not with battering rams or siege towers, but by choking the life out of an entire economy. 332 BCE, the city of Tyre sits half a mile offshore from the coast of modern-day Lebanon. It's not just a city, it's a fortress island. For centuries, Tyre dominated Mediterranean trade. Phoenician merchants shipped purple dye, cedar wood, and luxury goods across the known world. Their wealth was legendary. Their walls rose 150 feet from the sea. Every conqueror who tried to take Tyre failed. The Assyrians tried. The Babylonians laid siege for 13 years and gave up. The Tyre had never fallen. Then Alexander arrived. He was 24 years old, and he just conquered half of Persia. He sent ambassadors to Tyre with a simple request: "Let me worship at your temple." The Tyrians refused. They knew what worship at your temple really meant: submission. They looked at their walls, their navy, their overflowing storehouses, and laughed. They had food for years. A fleet of 80 warships. And the sea protects them. Alexander didn't have a navy. He couldn't storm the walls. So he did something insane. He decided to walk to Tyre. His engineers began building a causeway, a land bridge, from the mainland to the island. They tore down old Tyre on the coast, using the rubble as fill. Trees became timber. Stones became the foundation. The Tyrians attacked constantly. Fire ships, arrows, catapults from their walls. They sank construction equipment, killed workers. But Alexander understood something the Tyrians didn't. This wasn't about the causeway. While his men built, Alexander sent messages to every port in the Mediterranean. Any ship trading with Tyre would be considered an enemy of Alexander. Suddenly, merchant ships stopped arriving. Tyre's economy ran on trade. Food came from Egypt and Cyprus. Fresh water was shipped from the mainland. Luxury goods arrived daily from across the Mediterranean. Now, nothing. The Tyrians had stockpiles, yes, but those were calculated for a normal siege soldiers attacking walls, not an economic blockade. They'd never planned for every trade route to close simultaneously. Months passed, the causeway inched forward, and the storehouses emptied. 7 months into the siege, Alexander's fleet arrived. Not ships, he built ships from cities he'd already conquered. Cyprus, Phoenician cities that saw which way the wind was blowing. 230 warships surrounded Tyre. Tyre's 80 ships were now outnumbered 3-1. They couldn't leave the harbor. The causeway was nearly complete, and the food was running out. Visual: siege towers on the causeway, battering rams at walls. When Alexander's siege towers finally reached the walls, the defenders were weakened by months of rationing. The naval blockade meant no reinforcements, no supplies, no hope. The walls fell. Alexander's army poured in. 8,000 Tyrians died in the fighting. 30,000 were sold into slavery. The city that had never been conquered was erased. That causeway, it's still there. Tyre is no longer an island. Alexander literally changed geography. Here's what makes this terrifying. Tyre didn't lose because their walls were weak. They didn't lose because their soldiers weren't brave. They lost because Alexander understood that in a connected economy, isolation is death. Cut off the trade routes. Block the harbors. Wait, this strategy didn't die with Alexander. Britain used it against Germany in World War I. The Union used it against the Confederacy. Modern governments call it economic sanctions. The weapon changes. The principle doesn't. Control the flow of goods and you control everything. Tyre learned that lesson 2,300 years ago. The question is, who's learning it today? Thank you for watching this video. Please like and share it, and subscribe this channel if not yet. Please let me know your feedback on the comment box about this video. What should be the next video?